Hello and welcome to Extra Credit with me, Teacher Michael. This is a podcast made by online educators for online educators. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Extra Credit podcast. I'm your host, Michael Venn, and today's topic I am super excited about. I do know that I say that at the beginning of every podcast episode, but I am excited to talk about so many of these things. And today we're going to be talking about a company that I haven't addressed on the podcast. It is Outschool. I'm talking with teacher Brooke about Outschool. So if you don't know what Outschool is, or you've never heard of it, or maybe you've heard of it but don't know a lot of information about it, this is the podcast episode for you. It's a super exciting company and it allows you to teach whatever you want. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about it now in the intro because that's what the whole episode is about. And I am new to Outschool. I'm just going through the application process right now. I'm just going through the approval stages of listing my first Outschool class. And what I'm going to be offering is circus and juggling and other important life skills. That is the title of my course. I don't know if it's going to be approved or not, but fingers crossed. I hope so. So I'm super excited to jump on the Outschool platform. I hope you're excited to listen to this episode. And before we get into it, I just want to, this is a new thing for us here on the Extra Credit Podcast. I would like to welcome our first sponsor. The sponsor of today's episode is TeacherMichaelOnline.com. And I can't see you, but you may have done like an audio double take. Is Michael sponsoring his own podcast? Yes, he is. So what I offer through my website, TeacherMichaelOnline.com, is a video editing service for online teachers. So if you're someone who needs to make a video for your teacher profile and maybe you're struggling in that department or you don't know how to edit videos or something like that, you can go to my website, TeacherMichaelOnline.com/hire-me, and you'll find all the relevant information there. I can potentially help you create an intro video for your teacher profile. And if you don't need help specifically with it, perhaps you know someone who does. And thus concludes the sponsored portion of today's episode. If you get excited about Outschool during this podcast episode, or you just want to learn more information about the company, I'm going to leave an application link in the description of this podcast. So you can click that link, go and check it out for yourself and see if it's right for you. Or you could just stick around and listen to this episode. This is my Outschool conversation with teacher Brooke. Brooke, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. I finished teaching a couple classes this morning. Finished at 10. Now here we are at noon and ready for a podcast.
Oh, yes. It's been a nice light day for me too.
So this is the first time that we've had a conversation. And so to prepare for this podcast, I jumped onto your Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And I immediately got sidetracked. In your story highlights, there was a thing that was like, get to know me. And it was one of those filters where it asks you random questions and you answer those questions. So I started watching that for a little bit. And then my ADHD brain was like, I want to try this. So I spent the last 15 minutes with my phone pointed at my face, getting to know myself through some of those questions.
I love it. It's so fun.
So in order for our listeners to get to know you a little bit, why don't we start off by just kind of let everyone know who you are, where you are, what you do for a living.
Sure. So I live in Atlanta, Georgia, north of Atlanta in the burbs. And I taught second grade for 5 years before dipping my toe into online teaching. And I started part-time with VIP Kid in December 2018, really teaching part-time. And then over winter break, I realized this is something that I could do for my career. And my husband and I, we plan on living on a sailboat very soon. So having the ability to travel and still work and make money was really important. So I decided that May 2019 would be my last day in the brick and mortar classroom. And I went full-time online starting that summer. So I did full-time with VIP Kid, part-time, and then all summer long was full-time. Then I decided to add another company just, for the job security. So I added Go-Go Kid, I added US Kid, and then I just started doing Outschool in February-ish.
Awesome. So there are a lot of things in there that I want to talk about, mainly Outschool, VIP Kid. But before we get into any of that, I can't gloss over the fact that you said that the goal is to live and teach from a boat. Tell me more about that. How did that come to be the plan or the goal?
Yeah. So, oh goodness, it goes way back to 2009. I'm just kidding. When my husband and I met, his dream was to always sail around the world. He raced sailboats at the lake that's near our house, and he's the sailor. So he's Captain Stu. His name's Stuart. So I'm just first mate Brooke. So when I met him, I was an adventurer. I love to travel, but I was only 18 and I was like, yeah, sailing sounds fun. But we didn't really start taking it seriously, like that was going to be the goal, until after we got married. We had a very small wedding to try to already like save the money. So we got married and we did our honeymoon. We chartered a sailboat down in St. Lucia, and it was a 50-foot sailboat. And I had to prove to myself that I could do this with just me and him and not die. So once our honeymoon went by, I kind of proved it to myself that like this could work. I could do this. And then we moved into my parents' basement. We bought a 44-foot sailboat, and it's now in Hilton Head Island just waiting for us to be ready to go.
That's so awesome. What an adventurous life you're leading. That's incredible.
I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
So I wonder, like nowadays, when you're teaching in your classroom from your home, do you have that in the back of your mind, like trying to adapt your classroom and your teaching style to like be able to go on a boat and still teach? Does that enter into your head?
Oh, all the time. So as far as like props go, I'm a prop minimalist because one day all of this around me will be on the boat and it's, tight quarters. So I use a lot of digital props. I just started using Manicam just a couple months ago, so I'm still kind of a newbie there. And whatever 2D props I have or 3D, they're usually very small and really flat. So I'm already thinking of all of that. Yes.
That's so cool. That's wonderful. So before we get into Outschool, that's kind of where I want to spend a lot of today's podcast because I haven't really talked to any Outschool teachers. Why don't we quickly talk about your VIP Kid life? So what kind of levels are you certified for, and what does your teaching day typically look like?
Sure. So the levels, I'm certified for all the levels I can. I think the only one I don't have is like level 8 and, those STEAM classes, the dinosaur one, the music one, some of those supplementaries I don't have, but I have levels 1 through 7. I've never taught a 7, but I've only taught up to a level 6. And my normal day, I start at around 3 a.m. and go all the way till I can. So I'm in East Coast time. So what is that? Is that 9 a.m.?
I think 9, yeah.
Yep, 9. So, but in the summertime, when I first started going full time, I would start at 11 p.m. and go all the way to 9 a.m. So
That's a lot.
it is. It was a lot. I was really tired, but I never work weekends. So that is my priority is the weekend. So I stack as many classes as I can Monday through Friday. And then I never work Saturday or Sunday if possible.
I like that. It's really nice to draw some of those boundaries, I find, like because we are teaching from a laptop and it's so convenient to just do it from home.
Yeah. It's addictive,
It is. It can be.
Opening slots and having them book is just, it gives you a rush. But yeah, I had to pull back quite a lot. August, I made my biggest paycheck ever. I think I made over $4,000 in just VIP Kid, which was great. It was wonderful and very motivating, but I felt the burnout and I didn't want to be that way.
I totally understand that. And I guess the nice thing about that is that even though maybe it was difficult in that moment, you've proven to yourself that that is achievable, or you can do that if circumstances called for that type of workload for a specific month or two. So that's kind of cool. Now, as I was preparing for this podcast, I kind of reached out through Instagram and asked the teachers if they had any questions about Outschool. And by far, the number one question was what is it? What's Outschool? So why don't we start there?
Okay. So Outschool is an online learning platform. They use Zoom to have their meetings. So like when you make a class and you have an actual lesson, you're in like a Zoom meeting. So, you can see the students, you can share your screen, that kind of thing. But you can teach anything you want. So as far as I know, it has to be secular, so you can teach religious studies, but in a very like just learning type of way. and you teach all kinds of students from all over the world. Most of them are from America, UK, Canada, the more English speaking countries, but some kids are in Australia and the time zone. So teachers are teaching all through the night, but the most in demand times is definitely those morning, afternoon times.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that it was like even kids in Australia and stuff like that. So it kind of can be convenient to whatever time zone you're in.
Exactly. Yeah. I heard a teacher teaching a student from Qatar.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. So another one of the questions that kept coming up was like, how do you decide what to teach, or how do you build a curriculum? What did that look like?
So everybody has a different opinion. And my opinion on that would be find what you're really passionate about and teach that. Outschool is really saturated with a lot of like the basic kind of subjects, math, English, science. And those subjects, they're still, in demand on Outschool for sure. But I think if you're a new teacher, I think it's important to start with like your niche. So for you, take example, the clowning around type of thing. You're an expert. You can teach juggling, how to do clown makeup, like whatever you could think of, you can teach. So I think finding that niche that, what makes you unique and stand out, what you're passionate about. So I chose sailing. My first class that I created was a sailing class. And it's not, we're not learning how to sail. It's just parts of a sailboat, the mast, the boom, the sails, and then we draw a picture to go along with it. So that's what I chose. And I found a huge success with that because the kids could tell that they knew that it was my first time when I taught that lesson because I was open. I said, "Hey guys, this is my first time." And they were excited to see how passionate I was about it. And I just think that's contagious.
I totally agree with that. First mate Brooke. Is that how you introduce yourself in the class?
Right? No, I decided to go with Teacher Brooke because it's so unique. Like I never heard Teacher Michael, Teacher, like those kind of things until I started teaching kids in China. So I think it kind of helps you stand out instead of like Miss Brooke or Miss McFarland. Kids are like, Teacher Brooke, what?
Actually, yeah, that's interesting. I never considered that point because some of the teachers on Outschool presumably aren't VIP kid teachers or they aren't ESL teachers. And I think that is a very Asian thing, I guess, or like at least my experience in teaching in Korea was I was referred to as Michael teacher for the whole year. Michael teacher, Michael teacher. And then when I started with VIP kid, it was reversed and it was teacher this and teacher that. So that's an interesting way to stand out. Yeah.
But think about like Farmer John. Oh,
Yes.
sorry, go
No.
ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. Farmer John.
Yeah, like, Dr. Michelle. Like, I feel like it's weird when you hear it, but it rolls off the tongue, and I think it's so catchy.
True. Yeah. And so, what is the process for like getting students into your class and sort of marketing it? What are those steps that you kind of have to take to entice people to come into your sailing class?
So it's kind of cool. Outschool allows you to market yourself. So you can share, your Outschool link, your profile on your Facebook page, your Instagram, wherever you want, the ladies in your neighborhood. So you can really market yourself, but Outschool also markets for you on their Facebook page. So they kind of require you, when you make a class, you make a cutesy little picture that the kids are going to see to like hook them in. And as long as you have no words on that picture, they're kind of funny about it. It just has to be a picture. And they will share your class listing through their Facebook page and advertise for you.
Super interesting. Yeah. And then another one of the questions that came up a few times was sort of the prerequisites. And do you have to be an actual, like a brick and mortar teacher? Do you have to have a teaching certificate?
No, yeah, you don't need any of that. It's really cool. So you just need to pass a background check. To be really honest with you, that's all. I didn't even do an interview. So
Oh my gosh.
I know when you go onto their website, like I went ahead and like signed out and made a new account so I could like go through the steps. You just go to outschool.com. There's a little button that says teach. You click on teach and then it takes you a page that kind of describes why Outschool, and then you hit sign up to teach. And once you click that, you just put in your email address and it takes you to the application page, which has like a little video of how Outschool works. So they explain to you, what's going on. You fill out the application and I'm just looking at, name, email, location. It says list any experience you have, but you don't need to have any experience. And our teachers come from a variety of professional backgrounds. And then it asks you what topics do you think you'll be teaching? And I just did a few bullet points there. And then it says here, we don't require a teaching credential or a teaching certificate, but they do have a list. Like you can list your academic degrees. If you are a certified teacher, you can put all that in, but you don't have to be. And then the very last part of the application process, you record a 30 to 90-second video for the Outschool team. So it's not for the kids, it's not for the parents. And you just say, hey, to the Outschool team. They want you to be where you're going to be teaching. So I'm in my online classroom with my background, and I just started the video. Hello, Outschool. My name's Teacher Brooke. Here's all my credentials. Here's what I do. Thank you. See you later. And I uploaded that, and that was it. I was hired.
So this is the step that I'm in currently. So I'm exploring the Outschool world. So yesterday I recorded my little video, my 90-second clip, and exactly to your point, I started with offering a juggling class. So I don't know, fingers crossed. We're going to see how it goes, see if that's something that they feel is teachable on the platform, but I'm hoping it gets approved. Do you have a sense of like why do you think parents are coming to your class? Like presumably most children aren't going to necessarily, become sailors. So what is it, do you think, that is drawing parents in and drawing students in?
Right now, really, this whole lack of being able to travel. I've got some travel kid, like they have the travel bug, and that's all they can think about right now is like, I must leave this house. So I think the timing of what I'm offering was really like, there's just so many kids want to get outside and be outside right now and, go explore the world, that I think just the timing of it was nice. And when I have, the first thing I ask my kids is, why are you here? Well, not like that. I say, why are you interested in learning about
Right.
sailing? Because I want to know, like, is it just, and some kids are brutally honest. My mom signed me up for the class.
Right.
And that's always fun. But most of them are like, I have a dad that's interested in sailing. I have a grandpa who has a sailboat. I'm doing a summer sailing camp. Like some of them have that background, but some of them are just curious. One student just wanted to draw because I teach the parts of the boat and we draw the parts, and he just wanted to draw a boat and give it to his friend as a gift. So all kinds of reasons, really.
Such a sweet sentiment. And how old are the students that you're teaching this class to?
So let me take a quick peek. So this, you can set your own age range for each class. And my sailing class, sorry about that, is ages 7 to 12. And I could make another section that's like geared toward the younger ones. But I just really wanted to see like what would happen. So my ages right now are 7 to 12.
Nice. And how many kids are coming to the class? Like how does the interface work? Like are they booking once a week? Is it once a month? Like how does that work?
So for the sailing classes, it's a one-time course, meaning they take it and that's it. If they want to come back and take it again, it's the exact same lesson. Yeah. So it's 30 minutes and I have a class size of 1 to 8 kids. My most I've ever taught in the sailing class is 6 students.
Cool. And then yeah, so that's one option, is to do a one-off class, but my understanding is that you could also do like a 5-part series or a 5-lesson course. Is that true?
That is true. The options are like overwhelming. And that's it. I know you're going to ask me my pros and cons. To some people, all the options, it's a pro because they have all this control about their classroom and how they want to teach. But for other people, that's really overwhelming. And some people don't like it. So, but yes, you're right. You can make it anything you want it to be. You set your price, your class size, the duration. There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, that's super interesting as well, setting your price. Like that is coming from the world of VIP Kid and Go-Go Kid and that sort of thing. We don't get to set our price, unfortunately. But it's so cool that you can.
Yeah, there's a lot of opinions about setting the price. If you go to the Facebook pages and the different what teachers are saying, and I do notice there's a very big gap. If an Outschool teacher has that VIP Kid, Go-Go Kid background, then they like to charge higher than the teachers I've noticed who don't have that background. And I think it's because I'm not really sure why, but maybe the online community is so used to, okay, it's pre-tax money. We have to take that into account. And we set these monthly goals and all. I'm just not sure. But I do notice that I think the online teachers from like VIP Kid and whatever, maybe they recognize their worth for this type of class. Whereas someone just coming in with no teaching experience, they don't feel that confidence yet. So they may have a price that's like $5 per learner, but then Outschool takes their 30% and then it's still pre-tax. So it's not worth it, in my opinion, to set the price that low. But other teachers say it is worth it because if you have a lower price, you get more students and you can make more that way. It's kind of like a big experiment, and I'm still experimenting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can see, I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I can see the pros and cons of both. If you charge $5 and you can get 10 students in there, then potentially you can, after all the deductions, you can make quite a bit of money.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe not $50, but after the Outschool takes their 30%. But I think in my head, I just immediately think that the VIP kid teachers and go-go kid teachers are like, this has to be at least worth what I'm making per hour as a VIP kid teacher or an ESL teacher. And if it's not, then that's a lot of work to go through to create a course to only earn either the exact same or maybe slightly less per hour. So I get it. Yeah, I get it. That must be a bit of a trick. And do you happen to know, once you create your course, can you adjust the price after that? If you start going like, oh, actually, I'm underpriced here.
You can. So like right now, for example, my price is $10 per learner for the sailboat class, and it's a 30-minute class. And I really, in my head though, it's $7 per learner because that 30% is gone, right away. So in my head, it's really like 7 per learner. And once the student enrolls in your class, they pay the price that they enrolled with. So like if someone enrolled today, right now, it'd be $10 total. But then if I went and changed it to, let's say, $12 total, then the student still pays $10 who's already enrolled. But if a new one enrolls, then they pay the updated price.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So if you change it, it applies to those who will be newly, enrolled. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how has it been going? Like, what's the feedback been from the students and the parents? Like, do you get a sense of they're enjoying it, or they wish there was another class that they could come back to? Like, how has the feedback been?
Yeah, so it's really cool how the parents do feedback. They call them reviews. And so they can review your teaching profile and they can review each class that they take with you. So my teaching profile has, 11 total reviews from parents. And right now, hallelujah, I'm at 5 stars for now. And then my sailboat class, specifically that one, has 10 5-star reviews. And you can go down and and people can write nothing or write a sentence or two. And so this one, I'll just read one. This was a great class. My daughter loved Teacher Brooke. She was enthusiastic and engaging. She eased into the lesson, checked for comprehension, involved all students. Her passion was contagious. And then it says, my daughter asked for more classes by Teacher Brooke because right now I only have about 3 or 4 classes being offered. So that was interesting. I see that a parent, if I make more classes, I might get them as a student.
That's so cool. Yeah, this is fascinating. All these new things to me are so cool.
It's exciting. It's really cool. I like it a lot.
Do you think your experience as an ESL teacher online is helping you in the Outschool classroom?
Yes. And I think we have an advantage being from the online teaching community. Like, we know our camera angles. We know how to hold something up to the camera. Like, just those basic skills. That was a huge learning curve for me when I started. And, using props and using the good lighting, and you stand out. Like, you can kind of tell when you're looking, because I'm not going to recreate the wheel. My first step was I found all these other teachers that were successful. And I kind of took piecemeal what I liked from teachers. And that's how I created my profile, my first couple classes. I didn't want to just start with a blank page and start typing. I really used the ideas from the successful teachers that I saw. And a lot of the teachers that were very successful had that, you could tell they had the online teaching background.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's so cool. So if there's somebody out there who maybe during this time is like, I need to bring in more money, or I wish I could teach after 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., and they're on the fence about this Outschool opportunity, like, what would you say to them?
go for it, because really, like, there's no commitment. You could get hired, pass the background check, and just have your profile sit there for a minute. Like, I think, to me, it's good to have in your back pocket. Go ahead and do it. Just be a part of the program, because so many teachers right now are trying to get hired, and that's what the process is kind of being backed up. So just go ahead and submit your stuff, and then see how, take it day by day. That's the advice I would give, because it is overwhelming when you start to think about, I'm going to make a class. Like, just get hired first, and then just take it step by step, day by day.
I love that. That's a great approach, and I know I can hear the voices of some of the teachers in my head, like supplementary tools, materials, videos. Like, do you have to have all that kind of stuff? How do you enhance your lesson?
So, goodness, it's kind of hard to say, because it really depends on what you're teaching and how you want to do it. But to be honest, I've seen classes offered that are like girl talk with teacher Brooke, or like the students just show up and they chat.
Right. Okay.
Right. So you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. Now, like science experiments, the teacher's got an external camera, and it's viewing the experiment that she's doing with her hand so that the kids can see. And the Zoom, how Outschool, does the classes through Zoom, you can share your screen on your desktop, or you can share your screen through the cloud. Like, I can share my iPad screen or my phone screen, or use ManyCam. So there's just a lot of options.
Nice. It seems, I mean, going back to your point earlier, it does seem like there's a lot of options, which can be either super liberating and exciting or a little bit intimidating.
Exactly.
So before we go here, like maybe I'll kind of talk about some of the classes that I've seen listed, and maybe you could share some that you've seen people teaching. But as I was kind of doing some of my research and poking through it, I saw teachers, like someone was offering a how to start a YouTube channel, how to edit videos, how to operate a lighting board for like theater kids, and sometimes the ages are kind of skewed upwards. So like I think the lighting board was like for 14 to 17-year-olds or 12 to 15 or something like that, a little bit older students. But it's been really cool seeing like how to start a YouTube channel. Like, okay, that'd be such a fun class to start, like to
I want
teach.
to take that class.
Yeah. What are some of the classes that you've seen teachers teaching or offering?
So, from how to tie your shoes, I thought that was a really
Nice.
cute one. And, the lady had just like a kid's shoe on camera, and she was just going through the steps, and then they'd practice and whatnot. I've seen dancing classes, from classical ballet to just like, let's dance all goofy. I offer a workout class for really younger ones, and it's not like push-ups. It's more like, let's move like an elephant. And they're running around like elephants. So I've seen a lot. There's a lot of music classes, like how to teach, how to play guitar, how to play piano, musical composition, and then life skills. There was actually a class like Let's Socialize, because it was right when coronavirus hit and all these kids were bored. And it was just a socialization class where they came and just chatted. Goodness. The drawing classes are really popular, and that's why I added a drawing component into my sailboat class, was because I knew kids, that's an easy way to engage them and make sure they're getting what I'm teaching them. So a lot of those drawing classes seem really fun.
That's so cool. And I guess like that goes back to your point that you made about teaching something that you're passionate about. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're doing, 8th grade chemistry if that's not what really lights you up. For me, that would be a class I could never teach. But,
Oh no, me neither.
cooking or how to act like a monkey, uh, juggling, I don't know, things like that I'd be super into. So, um,
Spot on.
yeah, that's so cool. Brooke, thank you so much for sharing some of your experiences there. And I hope that the teachers out there that are listening, if they've been on the fence, I hope they jump over the fence and start running.
That's right. Yeah, because you really have nothing to lose. And Outschool has a great support team. Again, with all the teacher applications, it might be a little backed up because of these extenuating circumstances, but they are really good about communication with me. Like, every question I've had, they've answered me. They have a great FAQ page, and they have a little chat. So if you like need an answer now, they chat with you. So that's cool.
I love it. I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast. It was so nice speaking with
Of
you,
course.
and good luck with everything.
Thank you. It was so nice to talk to you too. And now we're closer friends. I love it.
I love it too. And I love the fact that Brooke was able to make some time to share her Outschool experience with us. So, first of all, thank you, Brooke, for being a guest on the podcast. And thanks to everyone else who tuned in, who made it this far in the podcast. I never do know who makes it right to the very end here. 30 minutes, 31 minutes. It is a lot of time to ask of you. So I am appreciative that you put me in your ear and that you are listening to the podcast. So thank you so much. If you want to find out about anything that we referenced in this episode, all of the links are going to be in the description of this podcast. Links for Outschool. You can find my website there, teachermichaelonline.com, where you can find out more information about my video editing service for online teachers. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know if you are an Outschool teacher or if you're planning to become an Outschool teacher. And also, what would you teach? What is that thing that lights you up inside? What is that knowledge that you have that you want to impart on someone in the world? Let me know. Find me on Instagram at teacher__Michael. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and an even better year. And until the next episode, have fun teaching. See ya!